Good morning and welcome to Thursday morning coffee chat. And so we'll wait for more people to come in. So the important question we begin is, what is in your mug? So what did you bring to drink while we talk about Star Wars here? So here is my latest mug here and quiz. Do you guys know what this label, where it came from, what era of Star Wars, and who was responsible for it? So leave that in the comments below. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday morning, and we are going to talk Star Wars, particularly Legends and the 6 movies, George Lucas era of Star Wars. I really don't have any news to share. Nothing really is sparking me with current news with Star Wars. It's kind of slow. There is that one about 1313. And so I was thinking maybe sharing that, but it's just, I shared the video a long time ago when it first came out about 1313, the underworld. Hi, so let's see here. We have is that crosstalk? There we go. Now I got it. I was going to try to say it in another way. And Jedi Padawan Tano, good morning. And you have spiced tea with unpasteurized honey. That sounds good. That is the twin planets of Corellia by chance? Nope. So again, what is this right here? And what era of Star Wars did this come from? And who created this emblem? And what does it mean? Matt G. Oh my gosh, like, hi. How you doing? Jamie Van Dorhurst. I'm sorry. Hello there. I'll say just Jamie. Triple espresso. That sounds really good. So I just have good old Folgers here already pre-made for me. So when I got up, it was already there. And so again, what emblem symbol is this? What era of Star Wars did this, come out of? Hint, post Return of the Jedi. And what is its meaning? So there you go. Drinking Rilo tears. Hi, Artistic Lego Films. How are you guys? How are you doing as well? So today we are going to not only talk about the 6 films, because we are coming to a close with Star Wars month, and I did about every single movie, like paid respect and homage to it. So we're going to talk about the movies, and then also here is the novel we're going to talk about, the first novel in Corellia, the Corellian Trilogy. So if you haven't read it, that's fine. I recommend picking up the book. It's a nice read. It's kind of short, just like only 100 or 308. And I like how the chapters are set up. So you have the chapter set up to what's going on in the chapter. So I thought that was pretty neat when I first read this. We do have Mara Jade in the series too as well, and she's the one who intercepts the message. So I thought that was cool that she's brought back in. And again, this is post Return of the Jedi itself. It is around, and I'll give you the time frame because I didn't give you guys the time frame in the video that I did on this. So I want to give the accurate instead of my guesstimate. So let's see here. Okay, Yoda. And if you guys ever wanted to look at the time frame for the novels, there's the link called yodasdatapad.com, and it also gives you a Disney timeline right next to it, so you could see where Disney is fitting in their books and where Legends is at as well. So let's see here. And this is the Karelian Trilogy. This is 18 ABY. So this is before the Thrawn's Zahn duology books, Spectre of the Past and Visions of the Future. So this is before then. So we have Mara Jade in here as well. So let me see here. So who's all coming in? Okay. Drinking Irish breakfast tea. That sounds really good. And crosstalk. Yeah, it's been a hot minute for 20 years since I've read that series. It's the one with the kids on vacay and the start of Centerpoint conflict, right? Yes. So this is a great starting point of Centerpoint Station. We learn about that and the conflict in the Corellian sector as well. Yeah, and I'm wearing my glasses today. So, yes. So if you guys have a chance, retweet this live stream and invite people in. I know we're just barely getting started. And I hope you guys are all doing well. Again, if you're joining in, little quiz. Where did this emblem, this logo come from and who invented it? And there's a reason why it's invented. So please share below with me as well. Yeah. So everything's going well on my end. Again, just been enjoying, doing the live streams and celebrations of the 6 movies. So in the chat, you guys share with me what is your favorite movie in the PT? What is your favorite movie in the OT? And what is your overall favorite movie? So go ahead and share that with me in the chat, and then I'll share mine in a sec as well. Let's see. Artistic Lego Films currently drawing Darth Talon. Ooh, and Ayla Sakura making that Jedi and in the Sith. Nice. Jedi in the streets, Sith in the sheets shirt. Nice. Awesome. I did sketch out Ayla, and I need to do Talon. But let me pull it out for you guys real quick. Here she is. So I did do her as well. Copic and ink. So not painting. Though my predominant medium I like to use is paint, oils. So like you see back here, Luke is on oil paint right here on 16 or 17 by 20, 16 by 20 canvas paper. So it's true canvas paper, canvas. It's not artificial canvas paper. So this is true canvas treated and not stretched to be on a canvas or on a frame. So sorry I missed that you were wondering what was our favorite movie from each era. Yes. So favorite movie from OT, PT, and overall. So the 6 movies, which is your favorite in the OT, which is in the PT, and then overall. Okay. Let's see here. Thank you so much, Artistic. All right. Happy day to you, O.G.Starwars, and to you, Dinosaur. Happy Dinosaur. What is in your mug? I work on Bristol. Oh, cool. Yeah, Bristol's a good paper as well. This is just my sketchbook. I've gone through, so I use my second medium I like to use is basically is ink and Copic markers. So I like using that as well. And I've gone through different types of paper for that, and I still haven't nailed down exactly which type of Copic marker paper I like. I think I like the one. It's something like, it's not here. It's like a B paper. It's not the exact name I'm looking for, but yeah. And that one doesn't seem to run. It doesn't make the Copic markers bleed as well. So a little bit of nerd talk here with ink and stuff. Again, if anybody hasn't got this yet, where did this emblem come from? Come on, you guys, you can do it. It's post Return of the Jedi. Let me see here. I would say it is, and I'll give you another hint. It's post New Republic era. So you have the classical era, and that's where the OT timeline goes in. And then you have the New Republic era. So it's after that, if you guys know your time frame. And you can also look it up as well. Whoops, wrong one. It hopped. Empire from Original Trilogy, Episode 3 and prequels, and Rogue One. I'm sorry, but Last Jedi. Oh, yeah, we're not really talking about the 7, 8, and 9. We're just talking about George Lucas's era, but that's cool. I know a lot of people love Rogue One. I thought it was a pretty decent movie, but I prefer the original, the Legends version of with Kyle Katarn and John Orrs. I'm sorry, but Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker made The Force Awakens worse for me. Felt like made Matrix trilogy. At least two made the ones worse. Yeah. Good morning, OGs. Hey, Mason, how are you doing? Have a wonderful day. My favorite from each trilogy are 6 and 3, but they are all six so good. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's see here. Miss Martin Muse, how are you doing? Good morning. And what is in your mug? If you have anything, any coffee, what are you drinking? I understand that I am in Pacific Standard Time, so it is still morning for me. So I know some of you guys are tuning in, and some of you guys, it is a lunch, and I understand that are later. So just share with me, what is your favorite? What are you drinking? What's in your mug? If you're drinking coffee still, or if you have anything else. And again, where did this emblem come from? Who made it? Who's responsible for it? And why? So let's see. My favorites are A New Hope and Revenge of the Sith. Okay, Jedi Padawan. So what's your overall with the 6 movies? Sparkling grapefruit soda. Very interesting. Grapefruit soda? I like grapefruit. I love grapefruit. And I like cutting and eating the wedges out of it and all that. Yeah. So. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I was going to share clips from the Audible to this, but then the last time I did, when it came to Han Solo, the Han Solo trilogy, and I shared the Kessel Run, my live stream got striked and taken down. And I never contested it yet or edited it yet. I just left it alone. And the strike was exactly for the Kessel Run, even though my review for Rebel Dawn that has the Kessel Run in it wasn't strike down, or any other audibles that I've used in my review videos and on my live streams has never gotten strikes down. I'm thinking because Kessel Run was used in the movies as well, and it's very popular. That's why. I don't know. So I didn't do any clips. Maybe next time I'll do a clip. But I did use clips in my review video. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, for sure, Empire is my favorite in the whole thing, and almost perfect movie for me. Awesome. Yeah, I would go Empire, New Hope, and Return of the Jedi in that order. Not in the PT then, crosstalk? You don't have any? Or did I read Revenge of the Sith for you? I'm not sure. Jefferson, hey, good morning. Espresso and steamed milk. PT, Revenge of the Sith. OT and New Hope. Overall, Return of the Jedi. Oh, nice. Okay, I'm going to tell mine. And if you haven't heard it yet, then you're going to hear it here now. And let me see here. Now, mine is the OT, Return of the Jedi. And I just love the overall arc in that, and how we get to see Anakin's redemption and Luke's transformation into a Jedi, you know. There's so much weight in that movie alone, especially when it comes to Leia and Luke as well. Leia and Han, there's so much going on. And then for the prequel trilogy, Revenge of the Sith, again, because we finally get to see Anakin progressing into Vader. We get to see the huge dynamics of everything that Palpatine set up unfold. Order 66, all of that, all the emotional weight, that huge, transition into the dark side for the galaxy. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
You rebel scum.
Yep. So I have those now. So yeah. So, and then overall is Return of the Jedi for me. So I go back to Return of the Jedi again because I love how the ending is with Luke Skywalker, with Anakin, and then Return of the Jedi is the one movie out of the whole entire series, 6 movies, that got me into the EU. I wanted to learn more about Luke Skywalker, and was he successful with becoming a Jedi? Was he successful with, passing on what he learned, what Yoda had told him, pass on what you know. So I wanted to know all that, and I really got into the EU because of that. The opening was weird and confusing in Return. In Return of the Jedi, I didn't think it was necessarily confusing at all. We understood that at the end of Empire Strikes Back that they were gonna go try to look for Han, and so that's why Lando set out for that. And we also understood that Jabba was the one that had the bounty for him, and so the opening to me made sense. I wasn't confused by it, but it is what it is, and I respect your take on that. Oh, and prequels, I'm kind of lukewarm on. Good Star Wars world building, but terrible dialogue. And the thing is that even the dialogue may not be good for some of the actors and stuff, but the story was there. We understood it. I don't think the acting was flat for myself. I think Hayden Christensen played a great Anakin who was conflicted in his teenage years, who came from not growing up in the Jedi Order and coming in as late in age as he was. And all of this makes sense to me because of that as well. But that's just how I see that. Hi, Sirloin. How are you doing? The plot was too complex. The plot to which one? And again, whoever's coming in, tell me what this logo is, like the name of it, and who invented it, and what era of Star Wars it is in. And this has a name to it as well. So share with me what you know about this logo here. Yeah, throne room scene in is some of the best Star Wars ever put on film. Vader goading Luke out by threatening Leia was awesome. Yes, you could see like the love and compassion he has for family. We see it with him wanting to redeem his father, right? And so then learning about Leia being his sister, that just really solidifies him being protective, and him wanting to keep his newfound family intact and all that. So that was very, very compelling. Okay, Return of Jedi is my favorite. Love the switching between the space and land battle and duel, but it's just such a satisfying ending in the trilogy. It sure is. I agree. Let's see here. Okay. I don't like satin because it's coarse and it's all over the place. And the thing is, I talked about this on another stream when I got to review and interview Abu Nas about the PT, about Attack of the Clones. And what's interesting about that quote is everybody just quotes the first beginning of Anakin's, I guess you could say, pick me up, or his talk with Padme. But what people don't see is that he's very awkward because he's a Jedi. They don't teach them how to be flirts and about the birds and the bees, because that's not what they are. And so the last part of that line basically is, and he kind of like touches her arm a little bit and says it's basically it's not like here, it's not smooth and soft or whatever. And so in a way, for him being awkward and not learning how to flirt and all this stuff, and not learning about courtship and stuff, it was just a brilliant way of how he flirted with her, I guess you could say, or tried to flirt with her. And so I thought that was brilliant. Cheers. Yes, it is the Twin Suns Squadron logo. So tell me which era it is from then, and I'll expand more on that, and then we'll get to the novel. The clunky dialogue in the prequels is over 100% in character. Yeah, like I said, Anakin, he had to seem awkward and conflicted, and so I think he did that well. I think Hayden did that well. The word was there. Yeah, I think it's Twin Sun Squadron at Sean, but I can't remember. Yes, Twin Suns. Okay, so what era of Star Wars did this happen then? You're almost there. So the name, the squadron, and who invented it as well. So who invented it, and what era of Star Wars is this from? Attack of the Clone had such cheesy dialogue, exactly like a Buster Crab, Flash Gordon, or Buck Rogers serial. Mission accomplished. George, mission accomplished. Hayden was directed to hold back in the second prequel, so there is a contrast to how frustrated and angry he is in episode 6. Yeah. I think Twin Suns is from the Vong era, isn't it? It's been a while since I've read those. Yeah, the Vong era basically is the new Jedi Order era. So who invented the logo here? So who was responsible for this? The squadron, Twin Suns. He was still able to pull her so bad, pickup line or not, he's still got some. Yeah. Sean Daly. Is it Daly? Daly? Late in the EU, I think. Post Return of the Jedi or New Republic. So for this is post New Republic era, and it's basically said Vong era, and that's what people call it as well. But it's the new Jedi Order era. Okay, so who invented the squadron? Twin Suns here, so that's the hint. I think Luke recreated it. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I love you.
I know.
Yep, so right here, he Luke was inspired because his planet also got bombarded and it by the Vong basically, and in memory of his home planet, he created the Twin Suns squadron, and later he gave command over to Jaina because they thought the twins Jaina and Jason were the Vong goddesses of chaos and leadership. I think I have to go back and review it, but basically they thought that the twins were, because the twins in the Vong were basically considered like godly like, because it's very few and far between that the Vong have twins, and so they held Jaina and Jason in a in that light, in like goddesses and gods and stuff. So Jaina used that as a way to combat them, and she played a role to help combat them, and Luke gave her the Twin Sun squadron in that. So Jaina was or did lead it, but she didn't create it. It was Luke Skywalker. Crosstalk, I remember Kip Duran had his own squadron. Rogue was under Wedge. Rogue Squadron was under Luke and Wedge. They both co-founded the Rogue Squadron, and then after the Battle of Hoth, Luke went ahead and turned over Rogue Squadron to full command, to Wedge for full command. So Luke created the squadron with Jagged Fell, right? Luke didn't create the Twin Suns with Jagged Fell, but he did have Jagged Fell within the squadron. I remember twins were very important to the Vong. Yes, and so that was a very interesting. And once we get into the series, we'll go more into that as well. So how many of you guys read this right here? This is the book 1 of the Corellian Trilogy. There we go. So in the comments, let me know what you liked about that. If you read it, and if you didn't, then just let me know that you didn't. We're going to talk about it. So I hope this sparks your interest to go and pick it up and read it. Again, this is an 18 ABY of the lore, and I'll go ahead and let you know what's before it so that you have an idea. So if you're reading through the timeline right now, then you'll know when you're going to get to it. Okay. So before it, we have some series like, let's see, this is 18 ABY, The New Rebellion by Christine Roosh. And then before that, we have the Black Fleet Crisis. We do have some X-Wing series sprinkled in here. And And then Children of the Jedi and Dark Saber, Planet of Twilight. And we have the Jedi Academy Trilogy. That's 11 ABY. So that's after Thrawn Trilogy. Thrawn is basically 9 ABY. And then we have like maybe 5 or 6 books straight back to back for the X-Wing series. I'll put this up on the screen for you. And then in 5 ABY, we have Luke Skywalker and the Shadows of Mindor, which is one of those mixed bag ones for fans. And then right after the battle, like the next day after the battle of Endor, the Truce at Bakura is one that occurs. So you can see my curtains reflect on that. I'm going to have to post the link below so you guys could take a look at that. Let me see here. Yoda's data pad. So hopefully, there we go. I didn't put the www because I forgot. Maybe that'll help. All right, so let's see who's comments I missed here. I have 16 people here, so thank you guys for joining in and, just chatting it up Star Wars today. Again, really no news. We're just going to stay within George Lucas' era of Star Wars today and just nerd out on that. So, Jamie, I was reading Splinters of the Mind's Eye, then got sidetracked away from Star Wars by A-Team novelizations and the adventures of Ford for Fairlane, amongst others. That's fine. I mean, I like other interests too. And this is basically a fantasy novel as well. And I like to read other things as well. Hello. Hi, Jules. How are you doing? I don't have this trilogy and I haven't read these in a while. That's fine. And so we're going to go over this right now. So those who haven't read it, that's fine. This right here is basically the beginning of the trilogy, the book that marks off the trilogy of the Corellian Trilogy. And again, it's, Han centric or whatever, centered around him. And what I find interesting is that we get to have Han again here and explore the relationship here. And I really liked it. And there's some parts in here that I'm like, okay, you could either have written this or is this how you want Lando to be in a sense? But it made sense, but it still was kind of tacky. Let's see here. And again, I was going to share clips instead of just reading to you guys. But I decided to just read to you guys right now because last time I shared a clip and it was for the Kessel Run. It basically got taken down. I got a strike. And one thing that I thought that was really interesting here is in the novel here, page 78, there's a little line about how Luke talks about Han to Leia. Basically, he says, to Leia, are you excited to learn about Han and his past? And so what she tells him is that basically Leia shrugs. Let me see here. Basically, she says that he okay, here it is. I marked it, but I marked it in the wrong spot. Okay, she goes, oh, Han's no mystery man, Leia said. What you see is absolutely what you get. His past is a mystery, yes. He's never said much, and I doubt he ever will. Anyway, I don't think a family tourist trip is going to do much to shed a dazzling light on the hidden corners of his personal history. So we know Han. If you haven't read the Han Solo trilogy, then you're not going to get part of his past. But he's never, but Han's never really talked about his past to his family, and that's apparent in the whole series as well. And so I thought that was interesting. But we learn about it when we read the Han Solo trilogy. So I thought that was pretty interesting because Leia's like, yeah, he's not a mystery man. He's straightforward. What you see is what you get, but his past, now that is something that we probably will never know because he hasn't talked about his past. And again, the Han Solo trilogy does give us more information about his past, and then you understand why he doesn't give what he what he has learned from his past, because part of it is that he's still learning, and then part of it is, most of it is that, you know, it's he just doesn't want to share his hardships. Okay, let me see. I recently got the Essential Reader's Companion book. Got to start reading it to expand my knowledge on the original lore and remember more. I have that too, and I recommend it to anybody who's getting into the EU, because it is basically, there's only like 3 books that are missing from this. And one is the Kenobi book, and mine is kind of falling apart a little bit. One of my pages is all whacked out. But yeah, so this is great to have along with your building your library of EU novels. It's very, very informative. Very informative. Let me see here. I'm much more new to Legends. Several months ago, I bought a bunch of Legends book, mainly New Jedi Order and Legacy of the Force. Really looking forward to cracking them open. Cool. Awesome. I'm so glad. And again, if you have any questions with that, then please let me know, and I'll help. I am glad to assist you in any which way possible I can. That makes me happy. Hey, Mr. Dystopian, how are you doing? Hey, how's it going, OG? It is going great. And good morning. Good morning. Do you recognize this logo? Tell me what you think this logo, where you think this came from. It is Legends. Sirloin is reading it out to an audience a copyright infringement. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. But when, like I said, the only time I've gotten the audible strike is for the Corellian run from Han Solo Trilogy. So, I mean, I read out a portion of it, and I also kind of changed it up. So who knows? We'll find out. Okay, Lego. Okay, you guys are chatting together. Let's see here. Joel, Kenobi is one of them. Yeah. So Kenobi's not in there, but Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader's in that, and Kenobi and Dark Lord are basically right after Revenge of the Sith, and they are kind of like a companion, because we get to see what's going on with Vader afterwards, and then Kenobi afterwards. So it's pretty interesting. Just to give you guys some more information on that. Artistic Lego film. Yep, I am on book 3 of the Thrawn Trilogy. Awesome. Tell me how you like it. Let me know. Sirloin, does anyone suggest listening to these books instead of reading them? There are a few books, or like there are some books that are unabridged. That means they're the entirety of them, which means like they could be like 26 hours of listening to, which is fine. You know, I don't mind. And then there's the ones that are abridged, and so they're very plot heavy, and you'll be missing a few information out of here, but not the plot information, if that makes sense. Like the one that I read, and then I listened to Audible is Darkness Trilogy. Now on the Audible for Darkness Trilogy, basically the interactions between R2 and Luke and his family is not in the Audible, which I think was something that they should have put in there, because his interaction with R2D2, he is, from his malfunctions that's going on in his system, he is trying not to reveal the deep memory that he stored of Anakin and Padme, and so he starts revealing it because of his malfunctions going on in his system and his deep core memory. And he's trying hard not to share it. And Luke discovers exactly who their mom is, who Padme is, what happened, even seeing the scenes of Anakin force choking her on Mustafar. So very, very, very sad and compelling. It's kind of a tearjerker in how he reacts and stuff. So, but I think because I love the lore and the continuity, I think that that's something that they should not have kept out, because then you have a more of an understanding of how they discover who their mom is, and also Vader's fall, because he sees that as well. I'm a slow reader, so it's taken me a while to set my mind to it. That's fine. And like I said, Audibles, again, some of them, there are a lot, or a nice handful that are abridged. And so it's going to be plot heavy, but there'll be some things that are going to be missing out there that if you pick up the book and read it, you'd be like, oh, I wish they would have put that in the book, but then you understand the plot anyways still. How many here wonder what happened to Ken, the Jedi Prince? Ken, the Jedi Prince. Anybody want to answer that one? I'm in love. Okay. Let's see here. You're in love?
I love you.
I know.
Oh, goodness gracious. Subhuman, good morning. Drinking some orange juice, huh? I have my coffee here. Do you recognize this logo here and who made this logo? I prefer reading the books physically rather than listening to them. Personal preference, I suppose. And that's fine. I do both. Just if I know I'm traveling and driving, and I really don't. I love listening to music. Music has always been my thing, my jam, and because I'm a dancer as well. But sometimes I like to put on my Audible while I'm driving and listening to, especially if there's a part, there's a book I'm reading and I still want to kind of keep up with it and stuff. So that's good. No judgment there, darling. I don't want to mention any websites or apps. Artist Lego Films picked up both Kenobi and Thrawn Trilogy in comic TPB form. Nice. I say whichever sparks your interest, hard copies, listening to, electronic, like Kindle style reading, whatever, get them, read them. No judgment here. I do recommend Audible, especially for busy people that may not have the time to sit down and read that much. But I always recommend read first before Audible, because like I said, the Audibles are very plot heavy, so you understand the plot and what's going on. But there's going to be little things that are going to be cut out, or you'd be like, like I said, like with the Darkness Trilogy and R2 revealing who Padme and what happened with Anakin in more depth is, then read the book. Read the book. Good point. Yes. So in here we have basically introduction to, we have the Solo kids. We have Anakin Solo, a very young Anakin Solo. We have the twins who are, basically young too as well. We have Han and Leia. We have Luke. We have Lando. And we also have Mara Jade in here. And Leia is going to Corellia for a trade summit, and she wants to have make a pact, I guess you could say, or get the New Republic and the Corellia system, in line together. And so she's using that trade summit as a way to set the relationship, I guess you could say. But we have the Human League that is led by Dun 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 and Thrawn Solo. So if you guys don't know who that is Han's cousin. Their parents are twins. I think I'm getting that right. Their parents are twins, and are their grandparents. See, I'm always getting that confused. Their grandparents are twins, because because his mom's Jaina. Because if you guys don't know it, Han and Leia named Jaina after her grandmother. And so they're connected through the twins, the Solo twins, and Thrawn and Han look alike, pretty much alike. So you could tell they're related, and they sound pretty much alike as well. Because of the Corellian accent that they have. And Thrawn Solo basically is the leader of the Human League, and he wants to take over of Corellia. He is xenophobic. He wants to get rid of the Dralls and the Selonians as well. So very interesting part here in the book. And that's what sets off everything in the book here. And a message is sent out to Luke Skywalker, but he ends up going on a mission with Lando Calrissian. And what's interesting about that is Mon Mothma talks to Luke, And she says, well, since Leia has basically the force sensitive because you are, so we know that she's force sensitive and she has an inherited force sensibility from you or from your family, then that means you have that inherent diplomatic sense like your sister does. And so I want you to go with Lando on his business ventures so that you can attune into your diplomatic sensibilities as well. And so Luke reluctantly goes, and he finds out that Lando's business deals or business venture he's going on is that he wants to find a wife. He wants to find a wealthy wife so that he can marry, and so she can help him build up his businesses as well as keep her rich. And so that's how he sees it. And he also says that many races and species do that, marries for that kind of stability as well. So that's his thing, and that's why I say it's kind of off-putting to me. It's a little bit of shallow for Lando, but quite not. And one of his ventures, he goes and meets a life witch, and he doesn't know she's a life witch. And basically they mate for 5 years. They promise their husbands a happy life without struggle, and all the desires and what have not. And then after that, they kill him. they're done. They kill him. And Lando doesn't know that. So the droids were made to stay in the ship. R2's like, look up this woman. And so to C-3PO, he does. It alarms them. They finally get out of their ship. They get over to the lady's place that he's courting, and basically reveals what's going on, that she's a life witch. So basically, as they get there, they're doing the blood kiss, so they're pricking fingers and kissing each other's blood, or they're supposed to, kind of gross. And so C-3PO saves the day. But Luke was like, kind of like, there's something going wrong here. I don't quite feel it's right, but he couldn't talk Lando out of it. So having C-3PO and R2-D2 coming in and stopping the whole situation, the marriage, because Lando was already sold. He's like, no woman's ever talked to me this way. No one's ever given me this kind of deal. I'm sold. Showing how easy Lando is. And so they come in to save the day, and they leave. And this takes them off to his next woman that he has, he's going to meet, and that's Tendra. So if you know the lore, Tendra is basically has a huge significance with Lando. And I think maybe many of you guys know what that significance is. I don't know if I should reveal it, just so that if you're reading through the stories and by the time you get to later in the series, then you know who Tendra is and her significance to Lando. So, especially in the new Jedi Order. All right. So that's part of that. That's the Lando and Luke situation there. And Chris Boyd, how are you doing? Thank you for coming in. Hello there. Can I ask you what book I should pick up since I have now finished the Thrawn Trilogy? Yes. It depends on where you want to go. And my poor phone died. I didn't plug it in last night, so now it's dead. Tell me, Chris Boyd, do you still want to stay in post Return of the Jedi lore? I think I might have talked to you about this already. Do you, or maybe I'm just getting out. I have like 4 people that have gotten a hold of me the last 24 hours about this. So my question is, do you still want to stay in post Return of the Jedi? Who do you really want to read about the most? Han and Leia, Luke, let me know and I can help point you to the right direction, hopefully. Crosstalks. Mara is the boss, possibly my top 5 EU characters, along with Fel, Thrawn, Pelion, Winter, and Exar Kun. Nice. If you couldn't tell from my avatar, that's a great avatar. Yes, I agree. I agree.
You rebel scum.
Sorry, I have these new little clips, and so I'm just enjoying them and stuff. But yes, great choices right there. 2 Real Geeks. Hey everyone, O.G.Starwars, how have you been? I am doing great. And you? Sirloin, OG, you fold the pages over. Someone in the States needs to buy you a bookmark. I do have bookmarks, but I only have a couple and I hardly use them. But they're just that way right now so I can go strictly to the page. Well, 6 then. Okay. Hey, how are you doing, Jeff? Cheers. What's in your mug? And can you tell me where this logo comes from and who invented it? It's pretty fascinating that Jane is named after her grandmother from her father's side, and Anakin is named after his grandfather from his mother's side. Yeah. It is. I like that. I think that's very interesting. Let's see here. Chris Boyd, then after those, I think there would be 3 or Yeah, and I went through the timeline, and this doesn't have the timeline in there. So let me pull a book out that does. I have one near me. I'm keeping the Han series near me right now because of that. And I think this one doesn't have the timeline either. Nope. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, I have Survivor's Quest right here. So if you guys haven't seen my review for Survivor's Quest, go check it out. Especially if you love Mara Jade. This is like 3 years after their marriage, and it's centered around outbound flight. So basically, in the Thrawn book, you probably have the timeline in there. Most likely. So if you want to stay within the New Republic era, then the X-Wing is a good read, especially if you love Wedge and you want to learn more about that. Like I said in the past, I have an ant right here. Go away. Truce at Bakura basically happens right after, like the day after, basically, of the Battle of Endor. And then you can also check out the Jedi Academy Trilogy, which is basically after. So you have the Jedi Search, Dark Apprentice, and Champions of the Force. So let me know where you want to pick up. I don't want to bounce you around too much further into the timeline. But, again, the X-Wing series are going pre-Thrawn, might help you as well. And if you want to know what happens right after the Battle of Endor, Truce at Bakura is a nice one to read as well. In the film Empire Strikes Back, Leia didn't recognize Lando's name, Lando's system, etc. Yeah, because she never knew who he was. This is after episode 5. So she learns of Lando in episode 5. She never knew of him until then. So the standalone trilogy about the Charon is not bad either. Dark Swarm series, I think. Dark Swarm? Are you talking about Dark Nest? I love Mara Jade Skywalker, and that was a great review. Thank you so much. I love her too. I just love her arc. I wish we could have got more about her, like her training years under Palpatine, because he didn't train her in the dark side. He trained her as an assassin. So I thought, and how to use the Force, yes, but not for dark side tendencies. And so that's why I would love to have that explored a little bit more so we could see exactly what that was about. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Or that would be very interesting. Crosstalk. Oh, and I can't stand Truce at Bakura. I didn't enjoy it, but someone might. I don't know. I don't take my word on it for it, and read it if you want to. I liked Truce at Bakura. I really did. I thought it was interesting to see how Luke was after the Endor, and that there are also still other threats going on, because yeah, they just had defeated the Empire, but they still have, there are still like remnants of the Empire out there that wasn't at the battle, that did not get the news, and also other planets that did not get the news of the defeat and fall of the Empire. So I recommend things. I may say this is what may not sit well with me, or I liked it, or I only liked it a little bit. I may give my own critique with it, but I encourage you guys to read them because what I may like, you may not like. We are all different with what we enjoy reading in Star Wars, and like I went on the EU book club for Kenobi. Really liked the book. Really liked it because it gave us an information about how Ben or Kenobi was after, seeing the fall of Anakin and stuff, and having to deliver Luke to, Owen and Beru. And then I got to learn more about the Tusken Raiders, which I thought was very fascinating, and the everyday life on Tatooine, and how Kenobi was trying not to struggle or trying not to be a Jedi, though he, every time there was something going on, he still acted like a Jedi, and he was struggling with that as well. So I thought that was very compelling, but some people didn't like the read. They thought it was too slow, or they just didn't like the read because it wasn't Star Wars enough. But I think it was still Star Wars because we're not going to see we're going to see Obi-Wan struggle as not being a Jedi. And like again, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good read. Artistic Lego films. I am probably jumping to the Hand of Thrawn since I don't have any other New Republic era books. I'm well versed on the timeline, so I'm not worried about getting lost. Okay, good, awesome, yeah. And if you're well versed and you want to kind of stay in the Thrawn book, you're not going to miss out on a lot, but they all still have continuity to each other. The Thrawn duology, basically the Hand of Thrawn, basically I call it Thrawn duology because there's 2 books, is another good read. And I just don't like to have people jump around too much when I talk to them about the timeline, especially if they're new to the EU, new to Legends. I don't care much for the Callisto trilogy, and that's what I get about other people too. There were some things I was like, I don't know, they should have done this better, they should have done her better. So I kind of agree as well with some of the points, some of the takes in that. There are some interesting information in there as well. I just think that it could have probably been written better, maybe. I don't know. But once I get to that, you guys will get to hear more of what I have to say about that. And I'll break everything down for you guys. Crosstalk. Sorry. Yeah, the Keelik from the Darkness series. Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Wasn't too bad. From what I remember, Charon was the death worship spiders that lived on the planet in hyperspace. Can't remember where they came up. The Charon, worship spiders. I think they were the ones that came out of the Temple of Jabba. I think. Callista, ugh. There are some people that actually really like it. I'm like on the fence with it. Like I said, there's some good bits and pieces, and there's some like so once I get there, you guys will get to hear what I have to say about that. And then we can discuss this more, and you can tell me more why you just don't like it as well. And that's fine. Hi, OG. I'm working, but I can listen to the stream. Thank you, Bone. I hope you're having a good day at work. I would like to stay put in Return of the Jedi and learn about the Yuuzhan Vong. All right, so you would probably want to go to you want to read towards the Yuuzhan Vong. So again, I would say if you want to start learning more about the Rogue Squadron and the X-Wings, the first book in the X-Wing series is Rogue Squadron. They're a good read. And if you're really curious about Wedge, then that's a good series to pick up. And then start working your way down. Tatooine Ghost, if you like Han and Leia and you want to see how she forgives her father and how she discovers who her grandmother is, I would pick up Tatooine Ghost. Good adventure, good story, a lot of calls back to the movies, I guess you could say, and to the continuity as well. Great book. That's one of my all-time favorites that, I sometimes, and it's not unabridged on the Audible, but there is a lot that is still left in the Audible that's in the book, if that makes sense. And so it's a great listen. So if you like to listen to Audible and you want to hear Star Wars sound effects, all of what's good about Star Wars, then you're going to have that as well. So again, my take on that. Yeah. So again, let's go back to the book. And again, this is in a series here. And then so we have, Lando. He's looking to find a wife to meet his needs as an entrepreneur. He meets Tendra, which basically, if you know the series, you know how significant she's going to be to him. And we have the Solo kids. And what's so funny is that Anakin is a lot like his grandfather when it comes to rebuilding things, and he has the attunement to electronics, to reading and picking up on them, which is basically a force ability. And I wish I would have gotten the name to it, but not every force user has this special gift. Anakin Solo does. And so it's easy for him to rewire things. And what I thought was so cute, or I wouldn't say cute, but interesting, is that they take a droid, their nanny droid, their tutor droid, and rewire it so that that droid can do their homework and do everything for them. And Luke discovers it. And Luke's like basically telling them, hey, didn't we tell you guys to quit doing this? That, this is not going to help you in the long run, that you need to be able to do things on your own. And basically they rewire things. They know how to fix things, because look who's their father, look who's their mother, look who their grandfather is. He was, and even Luke. So they have that in them as well. And so we get them just basically raising hell in this book, and it's so interesting. And I think it's so funny because they really played them out well, and with their abilities. So I thought that was quite interesting, and it leads up to how the machine in Corellia, was it Corellia, was found, that's linked to Centerpoint Station. And so we start getting the plot rolling with them finding out about Centerpoint Station, basically. And Leia once they get on Corellia, Leia has a draw as their tutor. And so he takes them, and they get to go learn more about Corellia, about one of their ancestor planets, I guess you can say, to their dad. And so he takes them to an archaeological dig site. And so they're exploring that with their tutor, and Anakin Solo basically, senses that big underground mechanic machine in the planet. And so in that archaeological site that's protected as well, through the innate force sensibilities that he has, and mind you, every single force sensitive has an innate use of the force. That's basically instinct. You still have to be trained to harness your force abilities in a greater sense. So through his innate sensibility, it takes him to the control system that is linked to Centerpoint Station. And so I thought that was very interesting as well. So it starts setting up the plot, even through the kids. Favorite book in the EU Wraith Squadron? Yes. Out of the X-Wing series? Yes. Have you read any of the Old Republic books? And if so, what's your favorite book era? Yes, I have. I'm laughing at myself because I keep saying this and I haven't played it yet, but I have KOTOR on my laptop that I do my art and I do my live streams, which I'm using right now. And so I haven't played KOTOR, but I have read some of the books, and I like the Bane trilogy. I do. And I haven't done the review on them yet. So I think maybe after this series, I'll go back in the time frame and go back to the Old Republic and review the Bane trilogy for you guys. So we're not necessarily stuck in post Return of the Jedi all the time, even though there's a lot of information there, and Luke Skywalker is my absolute favorite character. I will give you guys some Old Republic stuff as well to keep it balanced. Keep the balance in the Force, right? Okay. Well, folks, I have to take off for a bit. Errands to run and chores to do. Have a good rest of your day, folks. Bye, O.G.Starwars, and have a great day. You too.
Force is strong in this one.
Yes, have a good day. And thank you for coming in as well. Christopher Barker. Hello, OG. Hi, how are you doing? We are just talking about the book here, and then I'm going to go back to the 6 movies, and then we're gonna conclude the live stream. Coffee chat, but we're not done yet. We're not done. So don't worry. You came just in time. So Mr. Christopher Barker, do you recognize this emblem and who created it and what era this is in? And another question that I always ask you guys is what's in your mug? What are you drinking this morning as we talk Star Wars? Okay. Do you think Disney Star Wars has a brighter future on Disney Plus? I don't know. I'm partial to Mandalorian. You know, I give credit where credit's due, and I always tell you guys, like what you like about Star Wars. If you like both Disney and Lucas or George Lucas era, that's cool. If you're strictly George Lucas era, Legends, movies, all that, that's fine. That's great. No judgment. Same if you like more or less what Disney's putting out. Again, no judgment. I do compare and contrast, which pisses a lot of people off, and I won't apologize for it because that's part of my platform here. I like to say, okay, the timeline that surrounds this book and then the book that's opposite on the Disney timeline, I like to compare and contrast what's going on in that timeline. And more or less, I have found, that I really like Legends timeline much better because the lore makes much better sense in the continuity of the movies than anything else. But I do give credit where credit's due when it's there. I'm not a bitch. I'm not a bitch about it. So yeah. See ya, love. Talk to you later. 6 p.m. here in London. So cheers. Nice. The future of Star Wars not bright under Disney. I pray to God that something happens to turn that around for the sake of Star Wars. I pray to God that they continue Legends timeline in parallel to the Disney timeline, just so that maybe there is a balance going on. So those of us who just love George's timeline, we get more, and those who love Disney timeline, they still continue to get more, and those who like both can basically go back and forth or whatever. So I hope and I pray, because I hate to see Star Wars die out. I do. Really wish the Sword of the Jedi trilogy was made. Would make for a great gift for my 1-year-old niece. Yes, that's the thing. If we ever get Legends timeline going again, if they say, we're going to go ahead and call back all the authors that are written for Legends and have them continue it, then hopefully we do get the Sword of the Jedi published, because that was in process. That was in on its way to publishing, or was about to be published, or maybe published. I would love to have gotten that and see what's the next step for my hair? What's the next step for Jaina Solo, Fel, and even Ben Skywalker? Our big 3 that I predict for the next timeline is Jaina, Jagged, and Ben Skywalker. So that would be interesting, because that leads all the way to Legends comics. So, finding out who Ben Skywalker gets with and creates a family, so we see more Skywalkers, and then who are the ones that lead up to Maricel and all of them as well in the Fel Empire. That would have been really fun and to explore and see develop. Isn't Lost Tribe of the Sith from the Old Republic era? Yes. We have the Lost Tribe of the Sith novelization, and then they are secluded. And so when we get to Fate of the Jedi, we have them again, and so it's very interesting story bit here. So I can't wait to get to that and connect it to Fate of the Jedi and go from there. How do the Mortis gods differ in the EU from Clone Wars? The Mortis gods were introduced in the Clone Wars, so by the time we get to Fate of the Jedi, it is talked about because Luke talks about how his father was supposed to possibly step up for the father because of Abeloth, and but he also doubts that was what his father's intention was. So there was the beginning of maybe retconning all that, but we didn't get much. We didn't get to see much because after Crucible, they think they find Luke thinks they find Mortis, but that's not clear as well. So by the time Crucible is ending, Luke basically is like, I'm gonna go ahead and step down, step away. I think the Order is good on its own right now. And so we see Luke kind of stepping away from the Jedi Order, but he also sends his Jedi to find the dagger, find Abeloth, to keep track of her. And then they're still thinking about finding Mortis and stuff. So when you get to like George's story treatments for what Disney was supposed to use, and you kind of get an idea of this of the story treatments, it sounds like that was happening after Crucible, which is very, very interesting. And I do have my theories on that. We will never know. And story treatments are not the scripts, and story treatments do change. So, and that's what people don't understand is story treatments are just that. They're just treatments and they're just ideas. But it sounds like it's after Crucible. And so, Luke Skywalker goes off on his own, but, he's still training his niece. He did make her a master, but there are things that she's still learning. And then also his son as well. He's, I think, a knight by then, as I remember. Yeah. And so we have that expanding, and that would be interesting to see how developed past Crucible. I mean, so I'm just like geeking out and just thinking what ifs right now. So is there a mother of the Mortis gods? That would be Abeloth. She was the bringer of chaos. Yep, it's Abeloth. Luke's version of sequels was I'm going to explore the Force. Exactly, and that's what I was getting at, is the wills. And so Luke was setting off to explore more about Mortis and the Force and stuff. And so seeing him going off and that treatment also was like having Luke basically going in exile. I don't think necessarily exile means, that he was casted out. I think he was going on his own to discover more about the wills, more about Mortis, more about all that, to try to find a way to put Abeloth back into her captivity, basically. And so seeing that as well, and I'm going at what ifs and how well it ties into after Crucible. All right, so back to this. So we have we have Leia and her family on Corellia, and Mara Jade intercepts a message that was supposed to go to Luke to be given to Leia, and Luke wasn't available, and so it went to Mara Jade. And so she ends up contacting Leia and meeting with her on Corellia and giving her the message. And so we have Mara Jade in here, and there's like a little conflict adventure that Leia and Mara are on in the book as well when shit starts going down, basically. And that message is basically from the Human League about if they don't comply within these set of times, this is what's going to happen to this system, this star. So basically, the Human League is using Centerpoint Station to destroy stars. And they already did that already in this book one time already. And so now we have that going on. And then with Centerpoint Station, it created a huge interdictor field around the Corellian system. So by the time Luke and Lando find out what's going on from Leia with that message, they start going towards, and they're supposed to go to Corellia anyways to meet up with everybody. So they make their way to Corellia and hit the interdictor around the system, basically. And if they were to travel in through the interdictor field, it would take them like a week or a couple weeks to get through, which is not enough time. So they decide to go back to Coruscant to get help. So, and that's the end of the book. That's the end of the book there. And I put everything in short here. And I recommend picking this up. Very fun read. We have our chapters here, like I said, with titles like Showtime here. And I think it's very fun. This Courting Disaster, so that's about Lando and his ex, his expose with the Life Witch and stuff, which was very, like I said, kind of humorous, kind of off-putting, kind of Lando anyways, because he is a, I wouldn't say womanizer, but he yeah, maybe, I don't know, but and Homeward Bound about the them heading to back to Coruscant and stuff. But yeah. And the twins, the Solo kids are basically, their home planet is Coruscant. Yeah. So I think this is pretty interesting, like rough welcome. And then we do have a New Republic intelligence spy that gets with Han in the beginning of the book. And she's like, I want you to kind of cause trouble. She was telling him basically that there is unrest going on in the Corellia system and that the New Republic is investigating as well. And so she attaches herself to Han's family and almost gets killed, but survives her ship from being shot down as well. So again, I'm not going to lend too much into that. She does survive, and there's a lot more going on. Again, the adventures with Mara and Leia is very interesting and fun. And what's interesting as well is that Luke gives Leia a new lightsaber in here, and basically he tells her, I have something for you before you go. And Leia's like, what's that? And he hands her a box, a long, slender box, and she opens it, and it's a lightsaber. And now we know that this is after Thrawn Trilogy, and she's already has her lightsaber, and she's already kind of training, but she gets too busy. And because of her diplomatic, political stance, she is as a senator, and as a role in the Senate in the government, and creating the New Republic with Mon Mothma. So she hardly gets to train, and she doesn't really carry her lightsaber. And Luke's noticed that, and so from there, Luke is like, here you go, I have a gift for you. And Leia's like, I don't even consider myself a Jedi. I haven't even picked up my, I haven't really practiced in a long time, blah, 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 blah. And then so she opens it, and she's like, wow, this is better than the one I made, kind of deal. And he's like, I want you to carry it because I noticed you don't carry yours around as much like you need to, blah, blah, blah. And so she goes, well, let's duel then. Let's go ahead and practice together or whatever. And so she ignites the new saber, very impressed with it. Luke ignites his, and they duel. And so basically she beats him. But it's not like what we've seen in The Last Jedi. And then she reveals that, because the scenario, when you read that, it's not the same. But the thing is that she surprises Luke, and she's like, I practice on my own when I have time. Even Han doesn't know that I practice my saber dueling techniques, basically. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So then Luke says, you carry this. And she's like, I'm not a Jedi. And he goes, you have every right to carry this, and you have every right to call yourself a Jedi, and all this other stuff. So he basically says that inherently she is a Jedi, basically. And so I thought that was interesting, because then we get to the Darkness Trilogy, and we're going back to that as well. And find out that she decides to finish her training, and she becomes a full-fledged Jedi Knight after that. So he still sets her in motion to become a Jedi as well. So I recommend picking up this book, especially if you like wanting, like the Solo family, want to learn more about the twins and Anakin, especially if you want to get into the New Jedi Order series where we have the twins and Anakin at a much older age. Again, there's a lot of heartache and stuff in that series as well. So I don't see my chat moving whatsoever here, so I can't answer any questions, but let me see here. Okay. And then my phone's dead. So if you guys are chatting with me, I'm sorry. My phone's dead. Sometimes my chat freezes up on here on StreamYard, and so I can't see anything come through. So I can't answer any of your guys' questions, and my phone is dead. This sucks. Let me see here. What can I do about that? So if you hear an echo, I'm sorry. Let's see here. I'm going to try to... So if you guys have any questions regarding this book, go ahead and let me know right now. And we can go from there. If you guys have any questions regarding this book, go ahead and let me know. Let me see here. Yep, you guys are moving in this chat here. I see it here. Let me see here. Christopher Barker, off topic, but I see bright future with the DCEU when I thought Warner Brother couldn't get their shit together. Praise the Snyder Cut. Cool. Is there a mother of the Mortis gods? All right. So I seen that. Yes, there is. That was answered. Let's see here. OG, I had someone tell me that Disney is listening to the fans, and Star Wars fans are just too bitchy and negative to notice. Thoughts? I didn't hear that, but that doesn't mean that they did or did not say that. I think that it's a stigma. Okay, I see that it's right here as well. I'm not going to say Star Wars fans are the worst fans, because we're not. We're very passionate. Just like we've seen with the DCEU. Every fan of any franchise is very passionate, and when they see something that's not quite right or sits well with the lore, we're going to speak up. And how the franchise handles it will determine the relationship with their fans. And I don't think right now that Disney Star Wars has a good relationship with their fans. I don't, especially after seeing what, Rian Johnson has told fans in the past. Even JJ, he's not innocent at all either. So I wouldn't put it past them for saying that. Honestly, I wouldn't. But I have not seen that. If you have and you have a link, please share it with me in Twitter. All right. What would your favorite Clone Wars book? I don't know. I have to finish Shatterpoint. I haven't fully read that one yet. To me, it was kind of slow, but I need to do a review on it. I do want to do a review on the Clone Wars comics. I haven't done a comic review yet. But I do like some of the Clone Wars comics. Really, really good. Really, really good. And maybe you guys would want to hear some comic reviews, because it's not just about the novelizations. There's young adults reading children books. There's comics, all of that, even the games. But there's so much to cover in the EU because it's so vast. So I think maybe instead of going into Legacy comics to do the first review, I think I'll do the Clone Wars comics. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dystopian, for having me decide that. We all know the worst fans are Reylo fans. Off topic, but I feel like the Lucas sequels would have been good and better than what I've got from Disney, but that's just my opinion. And that's good. That's fine that you have that opinion and that's what you think. Like I said, I shared a what if from what I've heard about the story treatments. And we do know George uses the EU in his movies. It's apparent in the prequel trilogies as well. And so he's also talked about the grandchildren being in the novels, meaning Anakin, or meaning the twins, the Solo twins, are Leia's kids and Luke's son. So I wouldn't put it past him to not use them, even if he doesn't use their name in the story treatment. Doesn't mean anything, because if you look at the story treatments for even Star Wars: A New Hope, you would see that Luke was supposed to be a girl, or Han was supposed to be an alien. So everything changes significantly. Story treatments are just that. The BS is real. Howdy. Hello. How are you doing? Are you going to compare the Clone Wars show to the Clone Wars books? Maybe. I am going to do a comparison with the Clone Wars Filoni versus Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. But that would also mean that I would have to use the comics as well, because the Tartakovsky Clone Wars and all that information, that happened at that time was basically a multimedia project. So that means even using the comic books as well. So that would be a nice undertaking to do, and I think that would be more than just one review or lore review. I think it would be like a series. Honestly, it would be a series. Would I do season 7? No, because season 7 of the Clone Wars basically is Disney timeline now, because they changed stories to fit the Disney timeline. So I wouldn't use that. I would probably just use the early stages, maybe. But good question, maybe. All right, so this book here is, again, Ambush at Corellia. It is book 1 of the Corellian Trilogy. Very good book here to read, especially when you're getting into Han's family and his dynamics and what's going on in with the Corellian system during this time frame, as well as the New Republic. And so if you haven't had a chance to pick up this book, go ahead and pick it up. It's not that expensive to pick up if you're going to purchase it right off. If you prefer no banner, there are still some books out there that doesn't have the banner. Mine, I got this pre-banner. So yeah. Let's see here. Well, I'm here. You can stop worrying. You're safe now. Thank you, Will Gentry. How are you doing? And cheers to you. How's everything going for you and your family? I liked your story about your mom looking for the remote. That was funny. I like that. Been there, done that. Sometimes, it's one of those things where it's like right under your nose, and sometimes it takes someone else to help you find something. Jedi Padawan Tano, what's your favorite arc in the Clone Wars? I don't really have an arc. I do have like some of the series, some that I've watched, because I'm not a big fan of Filoni Clone Wars, but there are some stories I like that pertain with the clone troopers as well. So I'll cover that more in detail when I get to that in the lore review. Yeah. I mean, there's so much to digest and talk about when it comes to the Clone Wars, no matter how much you like it or, not like it or whatever. There's so much to digest because, it's a huge series. It's a huge, huge series as well. So let's see here. So the next book to this, what did I do with it? I think I have it by my table in the other room, is Attack on Selonia, I believe it's called. Something like that. Yeah. So that's the next one that I'll be covering next week for this series, the Corellian Trilogy as well. So if you have any questions regarding what I've given you about this book, go ahead and share below. And again, those who have come in, do you recognize this logo? And if you do, where did it come from and who invented it? And what does it mean, basically? The Umbra and Mortis arc were my favorites. Cool. Let's see. Will Gentry. It was funny. She's been looking for it for 20 minutes. And I said, wouldn't it be funny if it was under the cat the whole time? Then I heard a few seconds silence, then followed by an oh. Oh my God. I know. I mean, I'm pretty sure you probably get teasing her about that as well. I mean, I would do that with my parent. I'd still be teasing when they're looking for something. Just check under the cat now. Remember that? That's funny. Looks like a cross between the Spider-Man logo and the Iron Man mask. Which one? I'm lost on that one.
You rebel scum.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, you mean this right here. Sorry. Okay, I get it. Yeah. This is from New Jedi Order series. It's the Rogue Squadron. So it's not the Rogue Squadron. It's the Twin Sun Squadron Luke created. And then during the time frame, he lets Jaina Solo take command of the squadron. So this is a Twin Sun Squadron in memory of his planet Tatooine. So I ordered this mug, and I also ordered the t-shirt, and the t-shirt hasn't came in yet. So I have the mug and no t-shirt. So maybe next coffee chat I'll be wearing the t-shirt. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, the eyes look kind of like Spider-Man, but it's more like Iron Man colors. Yeah. So it's the Twin Suns, Tatooine's Twin Suns. Yeah, but I get what you say. Like if you kind of turn it a certain way, I don't want to spill my coffee. It's still full. Not full, but it still has them in there. Yeah. So I get it. I get what you're saying. Hey, Matt G. I admit Ahsoka is a bit of a Mary Sue when it comes to surviving, not winning like Rey. Ahsoka never beat Vader or the Empire, didn't stop Anakin from going to the dark side. She just escapes them. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think more or less she's OP than maybe a Mary Sue. But I get your point on there that even if she doesn't like win, she escapes. She doesn't see full defeat. I mean, but there's some point in the story where she can't be killed off now, like when we've seen her duel with Maul in season 7 of the Clone Wars. She can't die, and he can't die because we already seen them in Rebels. So I mean, plot armor, probably. And I'm back. I don't know what I did. I guess I crossed over something or the leave studio button, and I didn't press anything, and it booted me out. So here I am. All right, let's see here. A massive Han Solo fan, would you highly recommend I pick up the Corellian Trilogy books and read them? Have you read Han Solo Trilogy? I don't remember. So if you haven't read the Han Solo Trilogy, I would pick those books up first. The book that I have near, this is the Han Solo Trilogy in its entirety. This was a gift for me from Christmas. So it's in hardcover leather book, and it has all 3 of the books. It has the Paradise Snare, the Hutt Gambit, and the Rebel Dawn. And what's so interesting that I love, yes, Will Gentry, I see that boomer moment. Yes, it was. Thank you. I admit. Yeah, so the Rebel Dawn, at the end of Rebel Dawn, the last book in the series, basically it picks up with, or it ends with Han in the cantina on Tatooine, and it leads up to when he sits down and talks with Kenobi or Ben and Luke. So I do have a little clip on my channel about that part of the novel, the ending of the novel that leads up to that part in A New Hope. It's very, very fun. Very, very fun. Yes. Yes, OG Boomer. And I only have one thing to say.
You rebel scum.
Oh, goodness. Let's see here. At Matt G. Okay, that's to. Salutes to the Queen of the EU, Lord. Please keep blowing our minds. Oh, thank you. Goodness. Yeah. So again, if you are a big Han Solo fan and you haven't read The trilogy, the Han Solo trilogy, I would suggest get the novels, or you can even find this. Again, I don't know. I think I think maybe Barnes and Nobles you could pick this up. It's all 3 books in one. Very awesome. That's the inside cover. And again, it has all 3. So you have everything in one instead of individual novels. Like, well, not like this, but you get what I'm saying. And then Tattooing Ghost is another great one to pick up because you still get Han and you get Leia. So that's their individual like couples books, a Tattooing Ghost. And so, of course, Han, there's a lot of Han in that one as well. And his interaction with Leia and helping her along the way of discovery of who her father is and her making peace with her Skywalker legacy. Great read. Great read. Let's see here. Did you say Corellian Trilogy leads right up to where he meets Ben and Luke? No, it was the Han Solo trilogy. But if I accidentally said that, I'm sorry. Am I having boomer moments now? Let me take a sip of coffee. All right. So it is the Han Solo trilogy, Rebel Dawn, that leads up at the end of the book, that leads up to Ben and Luke talking with Han and Chewie. Let's see. Or did you say it was the Han Solo trilogy? Yes, I did. And happy to have you here, Abunas, as well. Thank you for coming in. We are about ready to wrap things up here soon. Just a nice, simple George Lucas era of Star Wars chat. No news going on. Nothing to really report. We just want to stay in the heart of Star Wars and talk about the original EU and George Lucas's era of Star Wars. We did go over the movies just a little tiny bit because we are coming to a conclusion of the Star Wars month of May. And so I just wanted to just do a simple chat with everybody about Star Wars and the novel here and about the movies. All right, Matt G, did you feel your knowledge of the EU enhances your viewing of the OT films, or are you thinking about EU stuff while watching episodes 4 through 6? I think that can be a double-edged sword. And actually not really, because it's done so well. It is done so well. I think I'm going to go there. I think the new lore hurts the OT more than the original lore, because George's team, his employees that keeps track of the lore for him and connects it to the foundation of the lore, which is the movies, they do it really, really well. Yes, there's some mistakes that happen here and there that do get retconned, but overall, the lore connecting to the movies is done significantly well. And so when I'm reading them and I think about the movies, it just enhances it more for me, because I think, oh man, this is the beginning of their story that we see on the film. Especially if we didn't read pre-film stuff, like the Han Solo trilogy is kind of pre-film stuff. So like if you read just Post of the Return of the Jedi, like this novel, and you go and watch the OT, then you're like, oh dang, I understand this is their pre-story here, and it leads so well up to the novels. Now if you read pre-OT stuff, when we're just talking about the OT, like the Han Solo trilogy, you get an idea of how where Han came from, why he acts the way he does, why he like how he got the Falcon, how his relationship with Lando is when we see him in Empire Strikes Back. Great stuff, because when we see them hugging, at first they're skeptical, and Han's like, hey, why are you here, punk, kind of attitude. We understand what happened. And so it's well-written stuff that keeps in continuity with the movies, because yes, the EU is not supposed to intrude on the movies, but enhance them. And it was done brilliantly. I think you can find it on Amazon, because everything is on Amazon. Probably. You probably can. What's the title of the hardcover book? I'm not sure if you said. So this is the Han Solo trilogy. So it's all 3 books in one. So it's this is a special edition one, I guess you can say. So look at that. Look how pretty that is. Look, look, look. See? So gorgeous. I haven't even opened it up yet to fully read it. This is one thing I do annotate in my books to cross-reference continuity, but I will not do it in this book whatsoever. So yes, gorgeous stuff right there. Hi, Ivan. Coffee and cheers to you. Now you probably said it right. It was only half paying attention at the time. News is slow, but that's good. Haters taking a nap. Yeah, probably. And I don't mind that. Let's see here. Two-part question. Which is your favorite film and which do you think is the best film? And I gave these. Okay, so Will, you're right on par. So the force is strong in you, my friend. When I began the chat stream here in the beginning, we did talk about that. So with you, I'm going to ask you the same thing. What is your favorite movie in the OT? What is your favorite movie in the PT? And what is your favorite overall movies in the 6-movie series for Star Wars? So mine in the PT is Revenge of the Sith. Mine in the OT is Return of the Jedi. And my overall favorite is Return of the Jedi. Though the OT is my absolute favorite trilogy, if that makes sense. So go ahead and share with me, Matt, what you, and I through Abu Nas's interview, I think I asked him the same question. So those who are coming in right now with that question that I asked in the beginning, and then I just asked, what is your favorite OT movie? What is your favorite PT movie? And what is your favorite overall from the 6? Yeah, nice and thick. Let's see here. Matt G, stuff I like outside the OT can enhance it, but once in a while I want to get back to me watching the OT in 1985 when it was the 3 movies. No Rey, no Mara, no Ahsoka, certainly no Rey. Laugh out loud. And that's fine. I mean, going back to the heart of it when it was just coming out, brand spanking new, something that was never really expanded on before. New to our society, this lore here. I mean, I get it. It's the nostalgia. It just it just makes you feel great. It brings a child out in you again. And I understand that. I do. But I also love the fact that Star Wars has like 25 millennia of history established underneath its belt based upon the movies. I think that is friggin' awesome. Friggin' awesome indeed. And this is let's see here, Mr. Dystopian Star Wars Republic kicked off the Clone Wars comics, I think. Yep. And I can't wait to get into reviewing the comics. I didn't collect them growing up because I wasn't too much into comics. But now they're having the omnibuses being made, like with Legacy 1, 2, and 3 and all that. I'm now buying them so that I can do review. And there's one I got all about Luke Skywalker, and it's back behind me. And I was like, man, just to review that's going to take some time in itself because there's a lot of lore that's established in the comics as well. My favorite is in the OT is Jedi. Okay. In the PT, it would have to be Revenge of the Sith. Okay. My overall favorite is Jedi because I don't rate the PT that highly, to be honest. However, I think the best film objectively is Empire. Okay, that's fair enough. Awesome. Return of the Jedi in OT, Revenge of the Sith in PT, and overall from the 6 is Return of the Jedi. Awesome. I was 5 years old when I saw all 3 in the cinema when Jedi came out. So I was fine with the ebooks And Luke Skywalker was just a total badass. He was. Oh my God, my favorite scene. Oh, I can't wait. And I will be on Abu Nas's review of The Return of the Jedi this Saturday. So come join us as well. But oh my God, just seeing Luke just come into Jabba's palace, just badass, taking, command basically and giving his orders to Jabba, you could tell that he has matured a lot. You still could tell, even though how much he's matured in the Force and as an individual, he still has a lot to learn as well. So, I mean, that was one of the greatest moments in the beginning of that film as well. Please add the sand from Attack of the Clones clip. I haven't thought about that. But sometimes I don't want to watch the OT and definitely think about the other stuff. I'm moody. Ha ha ha. That's okay. It could change off and on. Sometimes there's huge breaks between, watching, like going back and watching any of the movies for myself. One of my favorite series to watch, basically, Sex and the City, if you don't know that about me. So, it's just something like when I just steer away from Star Wars for a break, from the channel, because I know like I review lore books for the lore and stuff. So when I need that break, I go to other sources to watch to just clear my mind and stuff as well and keep everything fresh and my interest up, if that makes sense. Empire's great but I'm part of that Return of the Jedi crowd. Yeah. I love Empire. I love how it leaves us in suspense to what's coming and what happened. I mean, and the overall, like what happened to Han and the love story that's developed between Leia and Han and all that. I mean, I love that buildup, but Return of the Jedi, and it's just, I love the conclusion. I love that. Let's see here. Will Gentry, that's the best first act of the final part of the trilogy ever. If you follow me, laugh out loud. It's total badass, the whole act, right from the droids going into Jabba's palace to them flying away in triumphant. Yes, exactly. I love that. O.G.Starwars, don't give away all the goodies. We're gonna lay it all out Saturday night. Woohoo! Yes, I'm not, but that's just a sneak peek. There's a lot. I mean, I'm just touching the iceberg of why I love the tip of the iceberg, why I love Return of the Jedi so much. And it's my overall favorite movie. So you guys will hear it all. You'll hear me nerding out like crazy Saturday. And so stay tuned. Watch for the information on Twitter for time and stuff. And I'll also retweet it as well. So you guys need to come and participate in the chat, listen, share with us what you love about Return of the Jedi, all of that. It's going to be a great show. Oh, there's always more to say about Jedi, Abu. Yes, exactly. There's always more. Like I said, that was just the tip of the iceberg with that. Just the tip. I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. Let's see here. Yes, definitely. I rewatched that often, Jedi. Yeah. I grew up watching the Clone Wars shorts. I love the prequel and the Clone Wars more than the OT, but I still love the OT. And that's fair. There's people that grew up with the PT first, and then they went back to watch the OT because of their age and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with their age as well. Me, I'm more of a OT, and I hate the banter. Some people say, well, you're just an OT pure, so you don't like anything but the OT. That's bullshit. I'm telling you right now, that's bullshit. And this is proof. All these EU books that I have around here, and I'll just pull this one out here. All these EU books that have came out because of the 6 movies. And all the cartoon series that came out under George. And I'm even talking about the Ewoks and the droids. I grew up with that as well. Is amazing. Great stuff. Look at that. Look at that, you guys. And this scene is basically Padawan Darsha Assualt defends herself against the fierce deadlines of Darth Maul in the industrial depths of Coruscant. So basically, and that was such a small script, sorry. But yeah, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful lore. There's something for everyone. People will like certain parts of the EU timeline, and that's perfectly fine. There, and people will like certain parts of even the Clone Wars, and that's perfectly fine. There are people that will even not really care much for Filoni's Clone Wars, and that's okay as well. And that's the point I'm getting at, is that there's so much history in Star Wars that we have a lot to go off of, and we have a lot to take in. And so, of course, there's going to be areas that we like and areas that we don't like. And that's perfectly fine. Myself, I'm a big, huge Luke Skywalker fan. So a lot of my reading first began in post Return of the Jedi. Then it went into the OT era. So if you ever want to, read the novelizations and material in the OT timeline, I can help you with that. And then once the PT came out, then and then George said, okay, the PT era is open for for books and lore to be explored. I started reading that. And then Knights of the Old Republic, or the Old Republic, now, I started getting into that. So I went back in the timeline, back in time, more or less than anything else. It's all great stuff. And there's certain like trilogies I like more in one timeline than I do the other. And that's fine. Again, we are all Star Wars fans. And so there's my rant. So let's see here. What did I get here? I'm late, but just wanted to say hi. Hi, Nerd Cookies, and good morning from Kelly. Let's see here. Matt G, is there an EU reason why Jabba the Hutt doesn't trust Luke as a Jedi in return? It seems like it's because Count Dooku double-crossed him and Jabba. Remember that. When you read in the EU, especially Shadows of the Empire and other novels, he is a crime lord. And so he was around because the Hutts have a good lifespan as well. He was around when Jedi's was alive, because we've seen him in the prequel trilogies. So that's why he doesn't care for Luke as a Jedi. But then also, too, he also mocks Luke being a Jedi in Shadows of the Empire as well. So there's that history there, if that makes sense. The term gets thrown out there more because of the prequel haters. Yeah. Laugh out loud. I am an OT purist. Nothing I've seen or read so far has touched it. Well, nothing other than Padme's outfit in the Attack of the Clones. Oh my God. And that's fine. And see, for me, what got me into the EU, and you guys have probably heard me repeat this a million times, is that I wanted to learn, after Return of the Jedi, I wanted to learn what happened with Luke. Did he create did he create an order? Did he go and teach other people? Did he bring the Jedi back to life, in a sense? How did he progress as a Jedi himself? So I wanted to learn what Luke's story was after Return of the Jedi. And so that's what got me into the EU. Luke Skywalker is the bomb. He's amazing. There is still hardly anything that matches up on the emotional level to Luke versus Vader at the end of Jedi, in my opinion. Yes. You need to join us Saturday. Be there with us and share everything too inside the chat and stuff and all that, man. Just be there. Yes. You have a lot to say, a lot to share. Very few things pack that much of emotional punch for me. Very few things. The moment when Luke cracks and just starts wailing on Vader, William's score pounding, it's amazing. Yes, and we'll touch bases on that as well. So yes, stay tuned, you guys. I will have that information out for you soon. Yeah, I want to know what Luke did after Jedi, but I found the Thrawn Trilogy a hard read. It just wasn't page-turning for me. Still not finished with it yet. Oh, that's interesting, because a lot of people praise it. A lot. I don't remember if you said you don't like Audible or not, but Thrawn Trilogy is unabridged and Audible, so it's the complete story. Nothing's missing from it. So then you get the score from John Williams in it. You get to hear Ben Solo's voice talking with Luke about how he has to leave, that he can't stay in the realm that he's in anymore, that he must venture on like he's supposed to and go into the Force again. So all of that. So great. So if you like to listen to something and you're working around the house and stuff, get the Audible, Heir to the Empire, all that. It's a great listen. It's something great to listen to as well. And then again, I always recommend this, especially if you're getting into the lore or if you want to add this to your collection and you're building up your EU. This has all the books and even the young novels to even the young readers or the young adult novels, the young readers, young adult novels to the adult novels in here in order. And I think it does have a few comics in here, as I remember, are nods to them. And in here it has the summaries of the books and then also special information about the books. So let me pull up the one about the Corellian Trilogy. Let me see if there's any special notes to that. Okay, so the special notes to the wait, that's not it. Is there one? Yeah, here it is. I was looking at another one. Though Corellia was a part of George Lucas's original roster of planetary names, did you hear that? Corellia was a part of George Lucas's original roster of planets during the development of Star Wars. So you hear it here. It was not depicted in the expanded universe until the publication of the Corellian Trilogy. Author Roger McBride Allen offered the high concept of a system mysteriously engineered by an advanced vanished race and introduced Centerpoint Station. Constructs that would later be attributed to advanced aliens who may have also constructed the Ma Centerpoint Station would figure predominantly in the New Jedi Order and Legacy of the Force novel series. Yes. The Corellian Trilogy shines more of a spotlight on the Solo children, continuing their development as characters. These books give Anakin Solo a knack for technology as well as a tendency to follow his own instincts. So there you go, ladies and gents. So that's the little side notes to the development of the series. And Han Solo Trilogy happened after the Corellian trilogies. And so when you get a chance to explore the Han Solo trilogies and you get to find out more about A.C. Crispin, rest in peace, A.C. Crispin, she talks with the authors to the Corellian Trilogy, to the New Jedi Order, all of them that helped develop the lore behind Han. And she uses that information to make sure she doesn't contradict anything. She also talks, of course, with Lucasfilm as well as George to help recreate all of that. Let's see here. Oh, that's great. Definitely going to get the audio. Yes. The Audible. Yeah. It's on Amazon, Abu. Yeah. Whoops. Where did you guys go? There we go. When possessed, Ahsoka tells Anakin, I hate it when me snips while they're fighting. I was like, yeah, I hate it too, laugh out loud, because that name was annoying. For 5 minutes, that was my favorite line of the franchise. Did I read that? When possessed, Ahsoka tells Anakin, I hate it when me snips while they're fighting. Okay. I think I read that right. Oh, that's very, very good. Very well written, but it's not the kind of book that suits me right now. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And it's perfectly okay to not like everything as well. Thrawn Trilogy is a lot of the majority of the fans' favorite read, but it's okay if it's not yours. And I get it. There are some things I'm like, they could have done that better as well. But every book gets that from me. They could have done something better. It's a very slow burn of a book. Very thoughtful, very tactical, if you get me. I need all out action. Oh, okay. Yeah. And that's the thing, and that's what the Kenobi book as well. People, if you like the all out action of Star Wars, Kenobi's another one that's not going to give you that all out Star Wars action like space battles and stuff, because we are experiencing Ben Kenobi in solitude, in exile, basically. Oh, okay, Matt. I see. I mistyped too. I think we all do at one point, and that's fine. But I got what you were saying. But to be honest, the main problem is just the whole reading thing. I've not done it for so long. I'm just out of the habit, and that could be it too. And the Thrawn books weren't the right ones for me to get back into. Yeah, I think maybe the X-Wing series probably would have been something good for you to get back into, because yeah, there are going to be some slow moments in that, but basically there's a lot of action going on in that series. Hey, how you doing, Jane Theory? Hi, lady. Oh, whoops. I don't like audiobooks. When I fall asleep, I have no clue where I dozed off. Okay, so if you get Audible, and my phone's dead so I can't show you it, you could set a timer, and I do this. So if I decide to like settle down and listen to an Audible, like I did that with this, and my page was still marked for this, and I turned on the Audible to the right section, I guess you could say, there's a timer you can set for 15 to a half an hour to 45 minutes. And then so if you fall asleep, it's going to pick off where you left off, where it's last stopped. So you can then go back if you didn't hear what was being narrated to you. Obi-Wan and Ventress versus Maul and Savage was the best fight in the Clone Wars. And my thing is that I don't like how they changed Ventress's arc when it came to the Clone Wars. That was something that was very off-putting with me, but I get what you're saying here, that it was a good fight. It was. The line was, "Don't call me that. I hate it when you call me that." Yeah. I've got the Thrawn Trilogy on audio, but I am too stubborn to listen to it. Plus, I know I just wouldn't pay full attention to it. That's fine. There's a motion comic of Thrawn Trilogy on YouTube. Yes, there is. What chapter are they on? I haven't checked it, but I think they're on chapter 5 or 6, right? I love that. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, what I want is Jedi Master Skywalker. So the new Jedi Order would probably be the best bet, but the book club went through Thrawn, so I started those. Oh yeah, of course. The new Jedi Order is basically a 19-book series, so it's very, very long. There are some really, really good books. There are some books that are like, but those books that are still kind of like, I get it. But there are some great moments in those books that are kind of like, eh. But so it's a 19-book series, but you do get your Jedi Master, Grand Jedi Master. He becomes a Grand Master during the Darkness Trilogy. So, but we see Luke's development in the new Jedi Order, and how some of his family still has to help save him or help him with some battles against the Vong. And so it's very compelling. So we still get the Luke Skywalker growing, but he has grown significantly, and we still get him having struggles and stuff. And I think he's beautifully done in the EU. It matches his arc in the movies. Really, it does. Good point. I don't know about the timer. I didn't know about the timer. Yeah, there's a timer on there. So you can set it to half an hour, 15 minutes or whatever. And so if you fall asleep when it's playing, it ends exactly at where the timer ends. And then so you can go back if you miss some stuff. And so you won't be confused. I think the last chapter I saw them do was chapter 5. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I've seen chapter 5 up as well. I have to go back and catch up. I was referring to Nathan S. on YouTube, who took the Audible audiobook and made it into a motion comic. Yeah. Yeah, I want to read all the books set post Jedi, but now just isn't a good time with my life to really get into it. Yeah, and that's the thing, when you have time, I mean, it's going to be a while anyways, even if you can like read them back to back or somewhat back to back, because there's so much. There's so many books in post Return of the Jedi. So all right, so we're coming up 11, so we're coming up on our time to start concluding this chat. Again, pick up this book. We get a lot of the solo kids in this book as well. This is the setup for the whole trilogy. The next book is Attack of Selonia. And so that lore will come out this Tuesday, and we'll discuss it further in coffee chat as well. And so if there's any questions you want to ask me that you haven't asked me here yet, feel free to go back to my video, to the review here, or find me on Twitter, or save it for next week so I can cover that as well. Let me see, Matt G. In the EU, does any Jedi use a red saber? Leia does. Though bizarre circumstances stole a Sith weapon and used it again against them. Notice in episode 3, Anakin uses Dooku's saber, but never uses it after he kills him. Yeah, that was his saber. He uses Dooku's, like you said, and he doesn't save it. He doesn't keep it. One interesting fact is that one of the sabers that Luke makes for Leia is a red type saber. And I believe we see Luke using a red Shodo, small saber type saber in Legacy of the Force. There's other times where a red saber is picked up and used in Fate of the Jedi, when the Lost Tribe of the Sith come into play as well. So yeah, it's still, but they don't keep them. And so if that answers your questions. Yeah, the books aren't going anywhere, so I've got time to get to them. Yes, exactly. Any questions you have about the books, will let me, Ryan, or anybody who knows the EU know your questions, and we can help you along the way with that as well. Yeah. Asharad Hut, he becomes Darth Krayt. So we see him with a red saber anyways when during Legacy. So yeah, and that's a good story. And some of his history is in the Kenobi book as well. So all right, you guys, let's see here. I have one more coming in. I would have kept Dooku saber. That thing was classy. Yeah, he had a very nice hilt. The way it was done, I hear a lot of people favor his saber as well. And so I get it. It's really done well. So again, you guys, thank you for coming in and chatting with me about Star Wars. No news to really touch up on. That's okay. I'd rather just sit here and geek out about Star Wars in generals and George Lucas's era. Again, this book, this trilogy here, pick it up if you haven't. You can get the Audible. The Audible's not going to have it's going to be plot heavy for the book, but there's going to be some little bits and pieces missing that the book has that it doesn't have. And that's what, so abridged means that it's plot heavy, but not all the entire book is in there. Unless you see unabridged, then you have the whole entire story. So that's the difference. That is the difference. Was his saber the one with the curled? Yeah, so it was like the hilt was slanted, like kind of curled a little bit in. Very nice. I mean, people loved it. So glad to have caught the rest of the stream. So thank you, Queen. Thank you so much for coming in, Abu, Joel, Will, Artistic Logo Films, Mr. Dystopia, Matt G, anybody else who's listening, Jane Theory. Let's see here. Jamie, Jedi Padawan Tano. Thank you guys for coming in. Bone. Anybody I missed, I'm sorry here. It's always great to have you guys in here to chat Star Wars, whether it is old lore or the original lore and new lore, catching up on history within the original lore, you know, just really geeking, nerding out about the history of Star Wars together. Any questions you guys have, or sharing what you like about Star Wars. Thank you guys again for coming in. And hopefully I'll have my t-shirt in. This is, again, the Twin Sun Squadron created by Luke Skywalker in the New Jedi Order in memory of his home planet Tatooine. During that time, if you're versed in New Jedi Order, Tatooine is one of them that got attacked by the Vong. So this is in memory of his planets as well. So you guys, again, may the Force be with you. And I will talk to you guys later.